Hey guys, I'm actually back after God knows how long I've been away. I wanted to start off pretty simple. I'm just going to do a basic get ready with me so you can see my daily routine. I'm going to fill you guys in a little bit what's been going on in my life, and we might talk some wrestling. Who knows? I've been loving the Revolution Pro Pore Primer. I've had it for months now, like too long, and it's lasted me such a long time, and that's why I love it. I do have a new one to try out when I finish this one because I've so very nearly finished it. So anyway, I'm just gonna, I've got eyelashes on my oh god, we're off to a great start. There we go, my face is primed and prepped and ready. Cool, we're gonna go into foundation now, and I've been loving Fenty. Got through about 5 bottles of this stuff, so we're gonna use this today because I always use it. I've just gone down to a slightly lighter shade. I'm using 160 at the minute. I was using 170 when I came back off holiday, but I'm pale now, so hi. I'm using my beauty blender to put this on. This is a very old beauty blender, do not judge me. I did buy some new ones from Primark and they were disgusting, so we're gonna stick with my old trusted beauty blender. Yeah, so Raw this week, what did we think? What are our thoughts? I actually watched most of it for a change, which I never do. I made a point of watching most of it. Obviously we started out with the 24/7 title. What do you guys think of the 24/7 title anyway? I think it's a cool idea. It's a little bit of fun, I guess. This means we have to talk about Mike and Maria Kanellis. I am not a fan of either of them. I mean, Mike, he's fine. He kind of goes unnoticed, right? But Maria, oh my god, just give me Vicky Haskins on the main frickin' roster already. She's okay. And I guess everybody hates her character, so they're doing that right. But how they're gonna get the title off her now, I have no idea. I mean, someone suggested to me that maybe she'll be asleep and someone will pin her. Yeah, so maybe that's how it's gonna go down, who knows. I hope something big's gonna happen with it at Summer Slam. It's a title that I wouldn't say I don't care about, but it's a title that I kind of just feel a little bit like meh about, you know, like it's fun, but I don't really care who has it. Next, I'm gonna go and do my brows first before I start doing any contouring or any of that jazz, I think. So for my brows, I've been using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. This is in the colour taupe. I do also have a different colour. I think it's brown or light brown. Yeah, so I've got it in medium brown as well, but I found it gave me like black eyebrows. So what I like to do first is I use my Brow Wiz in taupe, and I just fill in the first part of my brows here. I felt like you didn't need to watch me draw my eyebrows in. It takes me far too long. So I'm then just going to set it in place with just a Rimmel eyebrow gel. I don't care what eyebrow gel it is. At the end of the day, it's just a freaking gel that holds my eyebrows in place. So hasn't got to be fancy. Anyway, we then had the gauntlet match on Raw, which wasn't something I was like all that interested in watching, but I thought I'll stick around for it, and it was bloody incredible. I was mad surprised. So obviously Rey Mysterio came out first, who I love, against Cesaro, which was an incredible match in itself. Like, if that was just a match, I would have been happy. It was amazing to watch. And then you had Sami Zayn come out, who I'm not a huge fan of. I know you guys love him, but just to be real, I'm not a massive fan myself. And then Andrade, which again, he's a good wrestler, but I don't know, not really that interested. And then Ricochet, and obviously Ricochet is the most incredible thing since sliced bread, so I was a happy girl. All in all, it was a good match. I mean, we all knew Ricochet was going to win. I mean, that's the match I want to see at Summer Slam anyway, so I was glad that he won, but I would have maybe liked to seen Ray against Ricochet. I think that would have been cool. Like, that would be a match that I would want to see. Then you had that segment of Moment of Bliss, which I'm getting bored of anyway. I think it's a boring segment. I just don't like these talk show type things. Like, The Miz had one, has one, I don't know, I don't care, I don't like them. But obviously that was about Becky again, because when isn't it about Becky at the moment? You saw her come out and attack Natalya in training, which I thought was an interesting moment. Personally, I think those sort of attacks work better when it's like a personal feud rather than just, look, we're going to SummerSlam, this is the match we have to have. It just had no context behind it, and I just felt there was no reason for it. Yeah, obviously it led into that quite nicely. Naturally, Nikki, you know, got her moment, which I thought was really cool. A Nikki-Becky match is something I'd love to see, like just the two of them, like no Alexa, like nobody else involved, like just those two having a feud, I think would work really, really well. So, maybe one day, but I do love what they're doing with Nikki. Like, it's nice to see somebody come up from NXT and actually get like a decent storyline and like a decent like moment in the spotlight. Just so if you're wondering, this contour that I'm using is actually from Primark. Can we see? It's actually from Primark, and it cost me £2, and it's in the colour caramel. So I was in Birmingham and I picked up that one from Primark. It's okay. I don't like it for my nose contour, which is the main thing for having it, but it kind of does okay at making different areas dark. Like, you can see that's, like, oh god, you can see that's like contoured, I guess. I don't know. I don't love it, let's put it that way. I wouldn't buy it again. Like, I think it goes patchy. It's not like a nice, smooth consistency, but at the minute it's doing the job of being a contour, which for £2 I guess you really can't ask anymore. If you were going to use it as a concealer, I'd say hell to the no. I don't think it will do the job for you. I don't know. If you like maybe like light makeup, natural makeup, then perhaps, but I don't know, that's not for me. Like, it just gives me a colour on my cheeks, and that's really all it does. Nah, it's okay. Kind of how I felt about the Becky, Alexa, Nikki Cross match. It was okay. It was exactly that. It was okay. When Nikki and Alexa obviously attacked Becky after the match, like, that was cool. And then Natalya came out, which, you know me, I love seeing any Natalya on my screen. So that was cool. I love the fact she put her in a sharpshooter, like, you know, setting the tone, building it up. It's only 2 weeks away now. They need to start building it up a little bit more. I have this constant worry that Natalya's actually not going to get her match and something's going to happen, because it always does with Natalya. I could just see it happening, that like they're going to say she's going to have a match and then last minute it's going to be Nikki Cross or something. Like, unfortunately that's what they do with Natalya, which is a real shame, because she's one of like the best, like if not one of the best female wrestler they have at the moment, well, they've ever had. And I just feel like she keeps getting used to push other people, which I guess when you get to a certain stage in the company is what is kind of a purpose you could be used for, but I just feel like she's better than that. I mean, I'm biased, obviously. Anyway, so Natalya came out and attacked Becky, which I thought was a nice little segment. And then the backstage segment that Natalya had, actually, where she was getting all angry with Becky. Can we just say how amazing Natalya looked? Like, she looked incredible. Those like braids she had going on, her makeup, she looked so good. But yeah, even like her little like backstage camera bit where she was talking about Becky and stuff. I really enjoyed that. I thought she got into character really well. Like, we've seen them try to turn Natalya into a heel before, and we've just seen it not work. Yeah. When Lesnar came out, like, that was exciting. Like, that was great. Oh my, those, without swearing, those steel chairs, my word, they were something else. The entire match, even like the backstage segment, like when Seth was in the ambulance and stuff, whoa, it was just, yeah, that's what I want from my wrestling. That's what I want. I want pure violence. And now WWE are no longer PG, like that is what I'm expecting to see. I want that action again, and you want it from somebody that isn't Braun Strowman's, you know, because that seems to be the only place it comes from normally, so that's quite nice to see. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I thought it was like a nice little ending to that match. It was really savage though. And then you had the Samoan Summit thing going on, which it wasn't actually something I was aware of. They're not really storylines that I follow, but I was tuned in, so I was going to watch. I did almost switch off when I just saw Samoa Joe chatting away and then Roman Reigns come out. I was like, you know, you had Cedric Alexander coming out, the Usos, like Cedric Alexander jumping off the top of the stage. Like, there was some real great moves in there, some real, like, oh my god moments. And, like, if you paired that with the Brock Lesnar Rollins, like, segment, the entire episode of Raw was intense. Like, it was a great, like, there's some things during that you'd expect to see at, like, a pay-per-view. So it was nice to see them making Raw, like, a little bit more relevant and actually making people want to tune into it. And I think that was pretty much my roundup of Raw. The moments I got from it, my favourite moment, I think, was the Brock Lesnar Seth Rollins segment, which is something that's, like, really unusual for me to say. I normally only ever tune in for what's going on with the women's, especially with Natalya being there. Like, that's one of the main reasons I'm watching Raw at the moment, is to follow this storyline with Natalya and Becky. So for me, yeah, I was impressed. I was really impressed with it. If you get a chance, catch up on it. It's a really, really good episode. 100% great episode. Overall, I'd probably give it maybe like a 7 or 8 out of 10. The only reason I'm putting it down is I thought the women's match was a little bit boring. I don't understand what they're doing with Becky at the moment. Like, are you trying to make her a heel? Like, I just don't get it. The products I used then were both Fenty Beauty. So I used the Fenty Beauty setting powder in butter, and I used the Pro Concealer in 150. You match it to your foundation, but because I like my concealer to be a little bit lighter than my foundation, I went up a shade in that. So that's kind of my base set down. I mean, now if you really wanted to, you could just pop some mascara on and be done, but I've got some more time to kill and some more wrestling to talk about, so I'm gonna just make this look a little bit more. I'm going to be using my Dior bronzer that I've always used. This is Dior Skin Mineral Nude Bronze Wild Earth 02. I've been using Dior bronzers since I was about 19, 20, I want to say. I love them. I wouldn't go to anybody else. They've just discontinued the bronzer that I was using. It was like a Dior Nude Air powder that I just use in the darkest shade as a bronzer, so I'm using this. This is fine. I just don't like a bronzer that has glitter in it, so for me this works. If anything, it's a little bit dark for my skin, as you'll find out. But hey, let's go with it. So I want to hold back talking on Smackdown, because I'm not a huge Smackdown fan, although I will maybe briefly go over what happened. I definitely follow Raw more, but I'd like to talk about the franchises that I actually care about, and I feel like I then can have an opinion on. Like, I feel like if I'm trying to talk about a franchise I don't really have an opinion on, then no, I'm going to say something wrong. So I'm going to talk about NXT UK. I caught up last night on the latest episode. We're still in bloody Download Festival. I feel like we're never leaving Download Festival. But yeah, we're still there. I just wanted to get to the Plymouth episodes now because I just need a different different scenery going on when I'm watching. The first match was Ginny and Jazzy, Kaylee Ray versus Toni Storm, Xia Brookside and Piper. Xia Brookside I think is a great up and coming talent. I think she's going to go really far. She's a fantastic wrestler and a great little character. Toni Storm, obviously is the face of NXT UK women's division. She's the only person I'd probably want as a champion at the moment. I was really glad with the result. I love Ginny. I think she's been great no matter where I've seen her, whether it be in Progress or in Fight Club. I've loved her. I think she plays such a good character. So yeah, I'm really glad to see her doing what she's doing. And I think they're all great. Like the match itself actually made me warm slightly to Kaylee Ray. Now, I wasn't sure about her being the matchup for TakeOver. I just didn't think she was relevant enough. But since watching the latest episode of NXT, actually, I think they could do some really good things with her. And I actually think she's going to be a really good match. I really want Kaylee Ray to get the title. I know, but I do think it's time that Toni Storm let go of it and maybe moved up to the main NXT roster. I think she'd do really well up there. Then we had, obviously, Trent and Walter had their match. Obviously, I wanted Trent to win. I've seen both Trent and Walter wrestle on numerous occasions. I saw Walter and Pete at NXT Coventry, barely, because we all know what happened with my seats. So yeah, I saw that match at NXT Coventry tapings, and then I've seen them both wrestle numerous times at Fight Club, and I've seen Trent wrestle numerous times at NXT tapings. I think they're both great. Favoritism, Trent is one of my favourite wrestlers of all time, so obviously we know who I was rooting for. That blusher I just use is Bare Minerals, and it's in shade Love Radiance. I've had this for literally years. So whether they still do it or not, I don't know. Now, what I'm hoping for at TakeOver is we're going to see a British Strong Style comeback. Tyler's going to be ready and wrestling again. We already know he is because some of us that have seen the spoilers from Plymouth, we know what happened. I'm really happy for Tyler. He's not only an amazing wrestler, but he's a lovely person, and I think he deserves all of the success that comes his way. We have already seen him as champion once, but I'd really like to see him as champion again. We all know Pete is doing more now with the main NXT roster. That was Jeffree Star Supreme Frost in Wet Dream. I use it every single day. It's a little bit glittery for my liking as a highlighter, but I mean, look at it. So yeah, Tyler, like I said, we've all seen the spoilers from Plymouth, that Tyler basically goes in and squashes Walter, which obviously I want to see. I love Tyler, I love British Strong Style, and that's the TakeOver I want to see. I want to see British Strong Style come back, I want to see titles won. Ultimately, I'd love to see Tyler take the main title, and I really want Moustache Mountain to win the tag team titles, because we all know they deserve to win it the first time round. Sorry James, I'm sorry Zach, but you know, I think Zach and James are a good tag team. I think they work really well together. I'm not going to go too much into my opinions on them, but I just really want to see British Strong Style with the tag team belts. Like, imagine the crowd, they'd go crazy, it would be incredible, it'd be great. But that's not the match we're going to see at TakeOver, I don't think. Yeah, other than that, on NXT this time, what else was there? There was a tag team match, wasn't there? But as you can see from my Raw highlights, I don't watch tag team matches really unless it's involving Moustache Mountain or Grizzled Young Veterans. Don't kill me, but I just don't really watch tag team matches. I watch the women's when they actually ever happen, because the Iconics just seem to be clinging onto those tag team titles at the minute. Literally clinging. I know is it Peyton? He's been off getting married. So yeah, I get that, but I want to see somebody else with those titles now. I'm a little bit bored of just literally having pay-per-view after pay-per-view and nobody challenging them, nothing happening. So yeah, I'd like to see something happen with that now, to be really honest with you. I'll go over a little bit over SmackDown, just the bits that I watched and cared about. So obviously you had the Alexa, Nikki, Ember and Bayley match. It was an interesting match. I think it's definitely helping to lead up to Summer Slam with Ember versus Bayley. I feel like Ember was part of the, I want to say like the bad pull-up from NXT, kind of during the time where WWE would bring stars up because they were like, oh, these people are good, we don't know what to do with them. And that's what happened with Ember. Like, Ember is a fantastic wrestler. Like, some of her moves, my god. Like, we've seen some incredible matches from Ember, and it's just a real shame that nothing's going on with her. So I'm actually really happy to see this match against Bayley at SummerSlam. It's going to be overshadowed now by the whole Charlotte Trish thing and obviously the Becky Natalya matches anyway, but still, we've got 3 women's matches, we've got fantastic wrestlers in every single match. Like, something's happening. Like, it's nice to see the women's division not have to feel like they're doing something for the sake of it. They're actually using amazing wrestlers and talent and doing something with that rather than just doing stuff for the sake of it, which is brilliant to see. It's like they're recognising the people that truly deserve it. Like, I mean, we know Charlotte has pretty much had everything that she's ever wanted, but this match with Trish is going to be great. You've got 2 of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I'm not a huge Trish fan. I didn't really like any of her comes back? I didn't like any of the comebacks she's done. I'm not from that era of diva. It's not what I'm interested in. However, it's still going to be a good match. I don't know who's going to win. Probably Charlotte, because Trish isn't going to be hanging around, I wouldn't have thought, but we'll see. Yeah, I think we're set for a good SummerSlam in the women's division anyway. The men's, I mean, the entire match card is incredible. There's not one match that I want to skip through. There's not one match that I'm not interested in. I think all in all, it's going to be a great weekend. Yeah, I think it's going to be one of the best pay-per-views of the year, I'd like to hope. I think the last pay-per-view, Extreme Rules, was incredible. It was actually a pay-per-view that I enjoyed, and I haven't enjoyed many of them this year. Like, I didn't enjoy WrestleMania one bit. I wish I'd gone to bed and watched it the next day. There wasn't really any match in it that I was particularly drawn in by. I don't feel like the results were good. Yeah, I just didn't enjoy Mania this year, and to be honest with you, I think they've woken up and they've realised with AEW they need to step their game up, and I think they're doing it. I think it's unfair when people say, oh, WWE are just doing it because AEW are... Why do I sound like a teenage boy? Because AEW have come on and you know, they need to compete. Well, they do, and they needed that competition. Like, WWE needed that competition to actually be like, okay, right, we need to up our game and we need to be serious about this. And I think it's good for both divisions. Like, a little bit of competition never hurt anyone. So I do think it's going to be a really exciting year, I think, for WWE, and I think leading up to the next Mania is going to be incredible. But for now, let's focus on SummerSlam and let's focus on what's going to be coming up for it. So while I've kind of covered like this week's highlights, or at least my highlights from the wrestling world, I figured while I do my hair, I'm going to fill you guys in on what's been going on in my life. So as you can see, it's a slightly different background from where I was. In my first video, or maybe my first 2, depending on what I upload first, you'll see that I was in a much smaller room. Yes, I know, you're working. In my old flat. That was back home, which is the Midlands for me. I'm now in Manchester. Well, Cheshire. I'm on the outskirts of Manchester. So yeah, I've moved. I did start training. I did start wrestling training. You can imagine how that went. I didn't enjoy it, I'll be honest. Like, I wanted to give it a go because it's something that I love watching, and I thought I might enjoy it, but no, not for me. I don't want to say I'm too old for it, because, you know, like, someone like Trent, Like, I'm not calling Trent old, I'm just saying, like, we all know when Trent started training. But I just don't think it's for me. I think I don't even want to say I'm too much of a scaredy cat. Like, I'm not scared of getting hurt. It's just that, like, thought of being like, right, I need to throw myself on my back now. I don't know. If anybody wants to be nice and, like, you know, does training, does lessons, whatever, then awesome, I'll come join you. But I just need somebody that's going to be a little bit, I don't know, like, softer on me. Also, I couldn't walk the next day. Like, I was in work the next day and honestly I was like, I can't move. Like, I've never been in that much pain in my entire life. I hurt from head to toe. Every single muscle in my body was aching. Like, I sound like I'm being dramatic, but I did not feel the same for at least 3 to 4 days afterwards. It's not gonna be me. I'm not gonna make my living from being a pro wrestler. I want to start doing these videos again for you guys. Like, I didn't realise how successful the first one was, like how many people tuned in. I was having a look the other night and it absolutely baffled me how many people were interested in watching and listening to what I have to say. So thank you, number one. Number two, like, what do you guys want to see? Like, I've been saying how I'd like to get back into cosplay again sometime soon, so if you guys want to see any tutorials on, like, certain, like, cosplay looks, then let me know, because that's something that might get me back into it. So yeah, it's been amazing talking to you guys again. Thank you for putting up with me and listening to my views on wrestling, which I know don't match everyone's, because I know what some wrestling fans can be like, but it's been great just talking and doing my makeup, and yeah, thanks you guys. So I will see you very shortly, and thanks for tuning in again.